Hey, good evening, everybody. This video is a remnant of, or lost footage of the original Alco that I did in Ottawa Central. So it's a quick 10-minute video. I'm just going to go over the final things that I did on this locomotive. Mostly it's adding details to the trucks and the lower chassis. So what I'm doing in this first little bit here is adding a bit of Winsor & Newton dark brown black into the leaf spring area, just to highlight that area. I've already got some of the powders on there, and just making sure that there's definition. And here I am adding a bit of light rust. You can see the tray back there. I got those Bragdon powders. Just brushing it on and then using another brush to kind of soften it up. So the battery boxes on this locomotive had quite a bit of, what would you call it, patchy rust, I guess. Kind of going around the perimeter of each one of the doors, the battery box doors. So I'm just trying to mimic that, and I thought the best way I could do it would be with powders instead of using the airbrush, which I normally use. So yeah, depending on the prototype, I generally switch what I'm doing. Yeah, what am I doing now? Just kind of getting rid of some of that excess powder on the fuel tank and the trucks. So I'm back at the trucks here with my fine brush and some Winsor & Newton black, lamp black water soluble oils, and I'm just highlighting the bearing caps and the springs, the vertical springs here, not the leaf springs, the coiled springs, and yeah, just generally adding in a little bit of black to highlight some of the details in the model. So these truck side frames are quite rusty, so I'm being quite liberal with the rust here, just getting it on there and then using my stiffer brush to kind of rub it off. And you've got 3 brushes going here, one of the finer ones to get inside the details there. Anyway, a lot of this rust comes down from the battery boxes above and just kind of accumulates on the trucks. So now I'm working on the rear driver's side truck frame. This one was not as rusty as the front one, and so I'm just applying a little bit less on that. Now I'm switching over to my red handle brush there, which is not as fine as the blue one in the background, but I am adding some more Winsor & Newton oil, lamp black oil on there, and this is just to highlight the bearing caps and again the springs and the leaf springs. And just use my Q-tip here to clean up a little bit. Got too much on the bearing cap, so just wipe it off. Okay, now working with the same color but switched over to my fine brush. This is just going to get a bit of streaking, oil streaking come down on the fuel tank. Again, using the Winsor & Newton black, lamp black oils. Okay, switching over to my burnt umber. This is also Winsor & Newton. I think possibly a little raw sienna mixed in there as well. And just starting to add some streaking coming down from the battery boxes and also onto the air cylinder down onto the fuel tank. This is just adding some vertical streaks, adding a bit of interest, a bit of detail onto the truck side frames. I find that, you know, I do my fine detailed streaking in oils, and then obviously I've got a background of the powders on there. And the combination of the two I find looks really realistic. So now moving up to the sill. On both of these Alcos, you've probably seen the second one I've done as well. And actually the third one I've done, the Ontario Southland one. They all had this kind of banding going down on the sills. And so right now I'm just kind of setting the scene, or setting the stage for the fine stripes with a bit of a brushed on appearance, spreading it out and feathering it out. And then I'll come back later on and just do the fine streaking on top of that. I did not seal any of this work in. I left it for a couple weeks before I sent it back to the guy, and everything was dry by then. And you know, it's okay to touch it. You wouldn't want to handle it too much, but generally I find that when you do spray over your powder work and your oils, they kind of tend to lose a bit of their impact visually, so I don't like to do that. So now that the feathered effects are done, I'm coming in and putting in the more solid streaky lines, the thin lines. So these are likely caused by the water running down the long hood across the sill or the walkway and then coming down the yellow stripe there. So on all these alcohols that I've done, the they've the RS18Us anyway, they've all shown this. The only difference being the color of the staining coming down. These ones had more of a rusty tone, and the Ontario Southland had more of a black gray tone. So these streaks are mostly on the long hood, but there were some coming down from the battery boxes just in front of the cab as well. So I made sure to hit those. And just generally going over this locomotive, you saw me there put the railings back on there. These railings did keep popping out. The stanchions keep popping out of the frame, so had to keep popping those back in. So just like on the driver's side, on the conductor side, I'm going to start doing the trucks here, using black powders, light rust, and dark rust powders, and then obviously following up doing the same method with the detail brushes and the Winsor and Newton oils. Try and vary the oils as much as you can. Try and vary the powders as much as you can. Obviously, trying to match the prototype if you're after that kind of effect, which I am. And yeah, hopefully it all kind of comes together. It's not a one and done thing. You got to build up layers, and you can rub this stuff off if you need to and start again. But yeah, my advice is to go lightly first up and see if you can build it up slowly. And the beautiful thing about working with silver trucks is you actually do get to see quite a bit of detail and a lot of the weathering that you do. I find that black trucks don't really show as much as silver trucks do, and I find silver trucks way more interesting anyway. But yeah, it's probably easier to weather black trucks. So I'll just continue to add the oils and the powders onto these two trucks here. One thing I did notice in the prototype photographs was along the bottom edge of the trucks. See what I'm doing right now is I'm taking a Q-tip and I'm wiping off the powders. And the one thing I could see, I guess the reason for this I could see would be that it's this locomotive is going down heavily vegetated tracks, and the grass is actually taking off and cleaning the bottom of the trucks. Otherwise, the rest of the trucks are pretty dirty and foul. It's just that bottom 6 inches kind of getting scrubbed. So again, doing some streaking down the fuel tank here, a little bit of spillage, and just generally going over and adding some of that vertical streaking as well on the trucks, similar to what I did on the driver's side. So I've already completed my airbrushing on the majority of this locomotive, and you'll see that I'm just using, bare hands to touch this thing. I do keep my hands fairly clean with lots of soap, and try not to sweat, obviously. I know some people use gloves, but I just prefer not to. I just make sure I wash my hands and keep them dry. And I don't get fingerprints all over the place. I don't, I mean, obviously using hand cream, you don't want to do that and don't want to touch these models with hand cream on. Yeah, just one of the guys pointed that out in the comments that I don't use gloves. Like, yep, I don't. So here I am putting a little bit of dollop of paint on the top of the trucks and just feathering it down with a more stiff, gnarly brush. So just doing the final wrap up on the conductor side here. Going over areas I've already gone over, adding a bit more detail here and there, tidying up things, going back over and wiping those truck frames with the Q-tip again at the bottom. Yeah, just making sure some of those streaks are a bit more prominent. There we go, cleaning up the trucks. And I'm just about done now. And the owner wanted me to run this guy through my bathroom downstairs, so I'm just going to run it through. This is the locomotive all completed, running on my track here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this. If you learned anything, let me know. Thanks for all you guys tuning in. So I earlier stated that this part of the layout is probably only going to be here for a year, and I'd rip it out and be moving into a new house, but I think it'd be like economic suicide to build a new house right now, given what's going on around the world, and house prices falling, and yeah. So this is probably going to be more of a permanent thing. Whether I finish the bathroom or whether I just leave the bathroom as it is, I don't know. But yeah, I guess we're all trying to figure out what we're going to do next. In the meantime, I guess we'll just keep playing with trains. So Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I've got another one coming. I'm going to show you something pretty interesting. So stay tuned.